I am sitting next to Clyde with Clyde's Garden Planner, which is a totally cool tool. And we were just talking about some of its uses and some of our little background stories. But Clyde, I'm going to bring you in on this and kind of tell us about the Garden Planner, how you got started in this and why you did it. Kind of what was your motivation getting this going?
Okay, well, I had 6 children, and they were eating me out of house and home.
And we'll do that. Yeah.
And you know what inflation is doing with the vegetable costs and
Right.
costs of growing things or buying things at the store. So I realized that I could probably buy a $3 pack of tomato seeds and grow about $200 worth of tomatoes, and that's a pretty good ratio. So I got real interested in gardening just to feed my family.
Right.
Okay. And I was working on setting up my own little plan for growing.
Okay.
And I realized that if my plan would slide, it could be used all over the country.
Right.
And that's the way it's turned out. And I'd love to show you how the chart works here.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Let's get right on into this. And bro, can you bring in on the chart so he can show that?
So the chart works all over the United States by sliding this red frost line on a horizontal calendar to your local frost date wherever you live. So if you're up in Wisconsin, you slide it to June. If you're down in Louisiana, you slide it to February or March. Here in your area, Ryan, it's April.
Right, about mid-April, yep.
Once it's in place, each column is a week, and it gives you the first outdoor planting week for each garden vegetable, starting with the cold crops like onions and peas and spinach they plant ahead of the frost, but waiting on the frost tender items like peppers and tomatoes till it's safe to put them outside.
Right.
And what I did is I incorporated what they call the frost-free date.
Okay.
So that the chance is only 10% that the frost can still get. So you have a 90% chance of success.
That's important.
Yes, it is. So that the chart also gives you then the indoor seeding dates so you can save money by doing your own seedlings because you know when to put them out in the house.
Right, okay.
And think about it once. If you go to a box store and you pay $5 for a tomato plant, well, you can buy a whole packet of seeds for that and start them on your own.
Right.
And you have a lot more than one tomato plant.
Makes sense.
The green check marks, they give you the expected harvest dates. And you can see there's a legend down there. And that's good for planting when you're going to grandma's house, so you're not driving out of the driveway when the tomatoes are needing to be processed.
Right, okay.
And it's a time-phased plan. If you look at it, you can sit here in February and look ahead 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 9 weeks, 12 weeks. And you can work this plan from left to right. You can do your garden. You don't have to do it all in one day. You could do it incrementally, doing a little bit each week and get it all in just in time. The chart will help you stay on time.
Right.
And now my friends who buy the chart also have written me and said it's a great quick reference. If you flip it up, you can see it gives you the seeds per 10-foot row, the planting depth, the distance between rows, the distance between plants after thinning, the sunlight requirements, the minimum soil temperature for germination. Get a cheap thermometer, check your soil so that your likelihood of your seeds germinating is real high. Okay. The expected yield, say your family wants to put in 80 pounds of green beans.
Okay.
Well, how many rows do we put in? Well, the yield says that 20 pounds of green beans can be expected from a 10-foot row. You can do some multiplication, figure out how many rows you want. You put in 40 rows for your 80 pounds of green beans. Then you got to put in another row for your eaten beans.
Right.
Because for Gomer, he wants his eaten beans too.
Right.
The natural companions are right here. If you plant these side by side with those, they nourish each other under the ground as companion planting.
Right.
It's a great way of fertilizing without any cost. This is the spring side of the chart for your spring garden. You flip it over and slide it to your fall frost date. And it gives you the last planting week to have a nice fall garden. It tells you which ones need to be guarded and protected from the heat. And I'll tell you, only about 2 out of 10 gardeners use the fall garden.
Right.
But we're missing a great opportunity because lots of things grow in the fall that are really healthy foods, especially greens and and your cruciferous, the broccolis and cauliflowers and stuff like
Okay,
that.
right.
And a lot of times I'm finding that when my children come home for the holidays, I'm serving them stuff out of the garden at Thanksgiving and even sometimes at Christmas. Okay, and so now you're getting the food right before winter. You can
Right.
preserve it as long as possible. So fall gardening is a great idea.
That
So the QR code here takes them to a quick video demo of the chart.
okay.
All right, and the chart comes with written instructions for
Okay.
those who like that, and there's little advices in there for gardeners too. And on the back are the frost dates for the United States and Canada, so they don't have to call anybody. They can just look up a city near them and use that to get the frost dates for setting the frost line on the chart to their local frost date.
That you have literally thought, I think, of about everything a person would have a question to ask. So my job here is done. No, I'm just listen. That is totally a cool tool.
It's pretty helpful. You know, a lot of people have helped me. They've said, "Would you add companion planting, or would you add the frost, the germination temperature
Right.
to the chart?" Some people said, "Please add that to the chart." So
It's grown.
kind of grown
Right.
with the help of my customers. Yeah.
Well, and that's important to get that feedback and everything, and what works and what don't, and what information they as gardeners want to know. Well, every gardener's going to want to know that information.
And,
So,
and if you don't mind, I have some advice for some gardeners. Some starter
absolutely.
advice, yeah.
Yes, please.
First of all, there's always going to be setbacks with gardening.
Right.
Okay, what you want to do is not give up,
That's important.
because the garden can generate a lot of income for you, and it's tax-free income. You know,
Shh.
you do
Don't
not
tell 'em.
have to pay federal taxes,
Right.
state taxes, or sales tax when you generate food for your family from the garden. And you know,
Nothing
with,
like beating the system like that. Now.
you know, with inflation going up,
Right. Oh, and it has.
and so many homesteaders, especially, have large families to feed.
Right.
This is an ideal tool to help you get into drawing that income out of your yard.
Wow.
And you know, if you think it's not very much income, during the war, there was a what they called a victory garden.
Right.
Do you know how much of American produce was generated by the victory garden?
A lot.
40%.
40%.
40%. That is proof in my mind that the value of a family garden is greatly underestimated right now in our day.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know that kind of totally, when you told me that before when we were talking, that really kind of set me back. And when you looked at the numbers and what it multiplies on your income, available, expendable income, and that type of stuff, it's like, why have we quit doing this?
Yes,
And
that's it.
I think we're intimidated. One, we got told not. We didn't have to.
Well,
Convenience. But,
Think about it once. How many people out of 100 are on a farm?
right. No.
It's less than 2.
Right.
Okay. Basically, we've had a separation of understanding and knowledge for agricultural things.
Yeah.
And I think it's time
He's
to
going
go
to make
back
a little adjustment there. We can keep right on talking.
It's time to go back to it, in my mind. How would we ever want just 2% of the population to know how to grow food?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. We
Yeah.
need to go back to.
And I remember as a kid, I remember as a child having our dad raised a garden, for a number of years. And my dad had this bad habit of everything was big. He would go way too much stuff, and we had super abundance of leftover stuff. More than, even though there was 6 of us in the house, it was way more than we could consume.
Yeah, I'm one of those dads.
But I also want people to understand that they can do this in a small
Yes, you can.
space. They don't have to go big.
And really, some of the other advice is to pick just 3 or 4 items as a starter.
Right.
But make sure they're items that your family likes,
That's important.
so that you're not growing something that they aren't going to eat.
Right.
And then I know I've got too much advice, but
No. There's no such thing.
go and get a soil sample.
Right.
Don't do all the work of putting in your garden and planting your seeds and everything, and then find out that your soil doesn't have the right components.
Right.
And you can get the soil sample done by your local extension office, and they'll tell you what you need to add to it.
Right.
And it's a great starting point.
Now, I want to ask you a gardening question. I mean, just a straight up. Do you use compost in yours, or do
Oh
you?
yes,
Yeah.
I do. And in my area, one waste that the local cattlemen have is decomposed cottonseed hulls,
Okay.
and that is a very good compost
Wow.
that you can put on your garden.
Well, I know that makes a big thing because I remember as a kid shoveling turkey manure
Yeah.
to spread it because
Yep.
our soil was sand and cockleburrs. I mean, that's what it was.
Did you need to wear earplugs while you were
It was
shoveling the
it was
turkey
it
manure?
was pretty rough.
Yeah. Well, they say chicken manure and turkey manure are high nitrogen.
Right.
They do need to age before you use them.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where Dad got them. I didn't ask that question as a kid. I just knew I had to shovel it. But I also know we had a high producing garden. So
Yeah.
I mean, I know he was doing stuff with that, and we produced a lot of yield.
Yeah,
I know.
paying attention to the soil is a good first step.
Right.
Choose the right things so you don't grow in something, you're not growing something that the family won't eat.
Right.
Get the soil checked out, okay?
Right.
And then, thirdly, make sure that you have lots of sunshine
Right.
and available water source. Because here in Oklahoma, it's just like us in Missouri. We go through a long period in the summertime when there's not enough water.
Oh yeah, months. Yeah.
It's a long time.
And it has cost me every year when I was doing small container gardening.
Yeah.
And I was going to say that overwatering, underwatering,
Yep.
getting too wet, then getting too dry, just the destruction that did on my little containers.
Yeah.
And so outside of just making sure you got it stored, any tips on how to avoid that?
Well, there's certain things that you can add to your soil that are water holding,
Okay.
and that's a good idea right there.
Okay. Look into things to put around it to keep water. Yeah.
If you do raised beds or containers, they require more water.
Okay.
And for watering, I use a drip tape system,
Okay.
and it applies like 50% less water, but it puts it right where my plants are.
Okay.
And I like that very much. I bought it online. I don't know if I should say the name of the company.
Right.
If I can think of it here, Irrigation Mart.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a nice little kit that you can buy for a family garden,
Okay.
and it's got all the valves and the check valve that's required to just weep the water out real slowly.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Well, I know that's important because that was a big problem for me. Was just like I said,
well,
watering incorrectly, and
it gets so hot here in Oklahoma.
does.
In July and August.
yeah, it does. Like I said, I lost a lot. When it jumps to 110, things are dying. For me, it's been, I did it when I was a kid. I did it one other time that I did raised bed, and then I quit forever. And so it was having to go back and relearn, and also try to teach my wife what I did know, so that we could have a successful crop. And so, gonna try again this year. In fact, that's what I got to do when I get back home from this is start getting everything ready, and I'm gonna have that right there in my hand.
It will help you. I mean, it's, I put it on Amazon.
Okay.
And the customers gave feedback, and they said it's the best quick reference a fella can buy.
And that is
for gardening. So that was very kind of them.
right.
But it is a good quick reference,
Right. Well, I will say, I mean, we did a show previously using this, and so it is a cool tool. I mean, as soon as I seen it, I'm like, this is awesome. I need to have one of these. And folks, you need to have one of these too. You can go to let's see, where am I at here?
right there.
Right there, yeah. Clyde's Vegetable Planting Chart.com.
That's it.
So
yes.
yeah, so you can go there, and there's a video demo as well on the website, so you can go there and get a little bit better. I ain't gonna say this was bad, this was great, but you can go back and rewatch again on the website and everything, and so you can get this shipped right to you. This is a totally cool tool to just kind of simplify, give a good guide, and as he said, they're getting tons of feedback from customers just about how handy this has been in their life, and I can absolutely see why. Clyde, I'm going to tell you, I appreciate you spending the time and sharing the knowledge and sharing the tips and the advice for people who are wanting to get started, whether you're wanting to do a small backyard garden just for your family, which is where Clyde started. And I think it's a great thing. It's money saving, frees up income. And it feeds your family fresh, healthier choices on the dinner table. And we just appreciate people that are giving us these tools that help make it a little bit simpler for us guys who don't have a green thumb and have to work a little harder. But no, Clyde, we really appreciate your time with
Ryan, thank you very much for sharing the chart with others. I appreciate that very much. The service, it's a great, important service for me because folks don't know about it.
Right.
And it really helps if they can see a demonstration. I appreciate that very much.
Absolutely. Yeah. And listen, Clyde is gracious enough to have given us a few of these charts, and I have one I'm taking home with me, so that's one off the table. But just kind of stay tuned. We'll be giving those away as a promo for Clyde. We're going to give those away to you. He is gracious with that, so that we can get this tool into the hands of more people who can grow vegetables for themselves. So stay tuned for information on that. And again, here at the Farm to Table Direct Show, another fine interview from a gardening expert who's created a totally cool tool for us to be able to use here to make life just a little bit better. So, all right, folks, until we see you the next time, prepare for the unexpected and keep it local.
Thank you, Ryan. Yeah.
So you can go there and get a little bit better, I ain't gonna say this was bad, this was great, but you can go back and rewatch again on the website and everything, and so you can get this shipped right to you. This is a totally cool tool to just kind of simplify, give a good guide, and as he said, they're getting tons of feedback from customers just about how handy this has been in their life, and I can absolutely see why. Clyde, I'm going to tell you, I appreciate you spending the time and sharing the knowledge and sharing the tips and the advice for people who are wanting to get started, whether you're wanting to do a small backyard garden just for your family, which is where Clyde started. And I think it's a great thing. It's money saving, frees up income. And it feeds your family fresh, healthier choices on the dinner table. And we just appreciate people that are giving us these tools that help make it a little bit simpler for us guys who don't have a green thumb and have to work a little harder. But no, Clyde, we really appreciate your time with
Ryan, thank you very much for sharing the chart with others. I appreciate that very much. The service, it's a great, important service for me because folks don't know about it.
Right.
And it really helps if they can see a demonstration. I appreciate that very much.
Absolutely. Yeah. And listen, Clyde is gracious enough to have given us a few of these charts, and I have one I'm taking home with me, so that's one off the table. But just kind of stay tuned. We'll be giving those away as a promo for Clyde. We're going to give those away to you. He is gracious with that, so that we can get this tool into the hands of more people who can grow vegetables for themselves. So stay tuned for information on that. And again, here at the Farm to Table Direct Show, another fine interview from a gardening expert who's created a totally cool tool for us to be able to use here to make life just a little bit better. So, all right, folks, until we see you the next time, prepare for the unexpected and keep it local.
Thank you, Ryan.